Welcome back to Future Perfect Tech Shorts. The Manila Electric Company, or Meralco, recently held its first technology summit called MTech. During the event held in late June this year, Meralco's chief technology advisor spoke of the need to embed technology into the way the country's biggest power distributor will deliver its services to customers. Gavin Barfield joins me here in the studio to talk to us about the disruptive technology that forms part of Meralco's vision. Gavin, thank you for joining me on Future Perfect.
Thank you for inviting me.
So disruptive technology is disrupting, or will disrupt, the way Meralco services its customers.
I think so. I think if you look at these capital-intense industries around the world, previously the barriers to entry were having to physically get assets. If you look historically, the way we've generated and distributed electricity throughout the ages has remained the same. But things like solar and battery storage is now starting to be able to come in and disrupt our industry.
So when people are actually, well, I guess generating their own power on a smaller scale just for their own use, in what way will that actually change the service model for Meralco?
As these technologies come in, and you look at solar, for example, the cost of solar has dropped dramatically in the last 2 or 3 years, and I expect it to keep going. And then when you get battery storage coming in, that's a real game changer. Because with solar, of course, the issue is you can only generate when it's sunny. Right. And people can only use the power generated during the day and during sunny days. But once you're able to harness and store that power, then you can use it overnight. So for a distribution company like Meralco, it poses some challenges, both in terms of how we manage the grid and in terms of how we can allow our customers and facilitate our customers to be able to do this in a safe and manageable way.
Now, of course, we talk about Meralco in the sense that it only distributes power. It doesn't generate electricity. So for people who may want to be off-grid because they have their own solar panels, or maybe they're getting their power from some other means, how will Meralco now shift the way it services these customers?
For customers who are off-grid, I think there's always a challenge, and I can see the distribution utility always remaining, or certainly for the medium term, as a connection for when your battery is not sufficient or when your solar power is not generating. But what we need to do is start to create new business models that allows these distributed generation and solar to be integrated in with the supply that you regularly receive from us as a distribution utility, and come up with good models that benefit our customers and allow us to incorporate these technologies. Because, as I said before, if we don't do it, these are elements that will come in and disrupt the business.
There are a lot of naysayers who say solar power isn't the way to go, and in fact they're pushing for something like nuclear power again. But do you think that solar power at this stage, or maybe in some future point, will really become mainstream and also affect the way people consume electricity?
I think it will, and as I said, the price has just plummeted, and the technology gets better and better and better. Once you combine it with batteries or some element of storage, that's when you start to become really interesting. Even technologies like fuel cells are getting down to the level where you can have them in a small little generation plant, taking off of piped natural gas or bottled gas or something. You can take these to the level that they're achievable to be installed in commercial premises or even in your household. So I think the model of having large centralized generation through transmission and distribution will eventually change to a far more distributed generation model.
I was hoping we'd see something like Back to the Future, where you actually put rotten bananas into
maybe one day
nuclear fusion reactor.
maybe one day. But the fuel cell stuff is not too far off that.
Too far, yeah.
They certainly can work off of methane or gas, which is generated from some element of trash.
Like rotten bananas.
You never know.
Now, there was a part, of course, during the MTech where Manny Pangilinan was also talking about digital technology.
Yes.
Being introduced into the way Meralco services its customers. Tell us a little something about that vision for MTech.
I think Meralco, we're starting to realize, of course, as many companies are, that we need to embrace these digital technologies. And our customers are increasingly starting to ask us for more information, for more products and services, and for more convenience. So convenience is all around how we can do things like viewing their bills online, paying online. And the more information is critical as well. So what we're hoping to do is, as we roll out our smart metering program, we can start getting information at a much lower level of granularity. So we can start getting information on how much people are using per hour. And once you get the information, then we can start telling customers, this is exactly how your profile works, this is exactly how you use electricity. If we start going into home automation and smart appliances, that can start telling you exactly which appliance is using which power at what time.
Yeah.
And then it allows customers to make smart decisions over when they use it. And eventually one day when we start getting towards a more of a time of use pricing model, so the electricity price may vary during the day, then these appliances can even switch themselves on and off. So what you may say is, my washing machine, I just want my washing to be done by 7 p.m. Just choose the cheapest time to do it.
Yeah.
And the washing machine will work out depending on the price of power.
But that would presuppose that a lot of the appliance makers would now make machines that would be connected.
Yes.
And would be able to utilize what they call the Internet of Things, everything communicating with each other.
Yes, it's getting that way. And Samsung has been working particularly in this, in the US, they have started to roll these things out. So they interact with the meter, they interact with the home area network that you have, and they can take controls from the grid and work out exactly what to do and what not to do, and they have that intelligence built into them.
Well, before we can even get to that, maybe we should improve the way we actually connect to the Internet in this country. Because by the time maybe your washing machine connects to the Internet, your washing load has already expired.
Well, the smart grid works on a different infrastructure. It works off of a RF mesh infrastructure. So we're putting in that communications technology to allow us to interact directly with the meters through a different mechanism.
Part of the technology that Meralco has already rolled out, and we've discussed this, of course, in several previous episodes, is the prepaid electricity. And that gives customers more or less a level of control over their usage.
That's right. The prepaid electricity is the first of the service which rides off of this new smart metering infrastructure that we're putting in. So by having these two-way communications between Meralco and the customer, then we're able to control their usage and able to give them notifications when their credit is running low, etc., and remotely control the meters. But what we're looking to do now is expand that service to what we call postpaid plus. So you don't necessarily need to be on prepaid in order to get all this information. So for example, you might want to set a usage limit of, say, 500 peso a day. When you reach that limit or close to that limit, we can notify you and say you're reaching that limit. And that allows you to manage your consumption. So you may decide not to watch a movie that night, you may decide to go out for a bike ride or something along those lines. It's really about giving information to customers and empowering them to make the right decisions or the decisions that they want to make about their energy consumption.
So Meralco would obviously have to monitor each and every metered household and be able to provide that kind of instantaneous feedback to the customer.
That's right. That's right. It'll happen through the smart meters would exist in the household and a communications infrastructure that we'll put in place. And that will allow us to receive data on people's consumption back in the office and process that and send out notifications to the customers. It also allows us to do remote connections, remote disconnections. And these meters are also very useful in order for us to understand what's happening on our network right down to the individual customer level. So instead of if you have an outage, instead of you calling us up, we'll call you up. Instead of you telling us my electricity is off, we already know that because the meter has told us that you're not connected. And we can be proactive in communicating to you through SMS, through Facebook, Twitter, however you want to be communicated, push message, and we can say to you, we know your power is out and we can give you information on when the restoration time will happen and keep you informed. So it's a proactive push from us as opposed to customers having to call our call center or visit our branches.
Right. And obviously when there are power outages or power interruptions and Meralco will have to service a particular, how do you call it, area that may be experiencing the problems. What kind of technology could Meralco adopt to be able to respond quicker to that kind of contingency?
We're actually implementing at the moment what we're calling ADMS, which is an advanced distribution management system. And when that's fully operational towards the middle of next year, what that will allow us to do is actually reroute power more dynamically. So it gives simulations to the operators on how they can reroute power through different circuits when an outage occurs to make sure the maximum number of customers remains on. So at the moment, everybody might be off, but then the ADMS system will be able to give us options to say, actually, this transformer can take an extra load, and we can reroute it around the network. It's what's called a self-healing network.
A self-healing
Self-healing network. So the system can actually work out if it's broken, if it's bleeding, how to reroute it around to avoid that. to avoid that wound, if you like, and then how to then of course we can automatically dispatch our crews and give them real accurate information on where the problem is and what they need to fix.
Now, a little bird in Meralco, not a little bird, actually a big bird with glasses, we shall hide his name, told me that Meralco actually now employs drones as well in its maintenance fleet.
We're starting to use them. At the MTech event, we actually had them showcased, and they were flying around our compound. And the idea of that is, of course, we have to inspect our electricity cables, particularly after typhoons and natural disasters, where we want to quickly be able to see the state of our cables. And going up in the basket trucks, you have visibility, and then you have to drive along and have visibility again. Where with the drones, if they can fly along the cables, then we can actually see it. And initially,
but you still have to send a repair guy up to the power line.
You still have to. It's not. We haven't quite got the technology of the robot hands yet. But at least it will be able for us to survey the network. And initially, we can just use video feeds, but eventually, you can actually link this into our central system, so that we map the location of the cables, and the drones can actually image the cables and identify issues along there and report it back to us. But that's a way off. But we're looking at these technologies, and we have what we've called our Technology Vision 2021, which lays out all of these innovations that we want to try to do and how we create the Meralco of the future. Visioneering
was what the MTech Summit was all about. Basically, that vision was for what's going to happen in 2021.
That's right. It was a play on words. It was vision plus engineering, because of course engineering is at the heart of what we do. But it was, how do we bring all these initiatives together to really show what the Meralco of the future will look like, and show what it will look like for our customers, and really let people understand the way our technology is moving, and the way that these disruptive technologies will affect our business, and what we're doing to equip ourselves and equip our customers for the new way of working.
Well, we've been reading about small experiments abroad about distributing electricity wirelessly, Whitricity they call it, I think, where they're able to do it through magnetic resonance. I don't suppose Meralco is going to be into that anytime in the future.
Well, I'm not sure it's on our immediate plan. It certainly wasn't in our 2021 vision. But it's a valid point. I mean, it's interesting. Who would have known, if we'd have had this discussion 15, 20 years ago, what technology initiatives would have been around now? So if you invite me back on your show in 2021, then maybe this is something that's in our next roadmap.
Hopefully so.
Yes.
We'll see you then, Gavin. Thank you very much.
I'll book it in my diary.
Gavin Barfield, the Chief Technology Advisor for Meralco. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you very much indeed for your time.